It is week 4 here in Cambodia, and it's going. This week we had our second community teach. I got to teach with another excellent partner. Her name was Jess, and Jess has teaching experience with the lower grade students. So we worked in the primary school, and her experience shows. It was an excellent dynamic. I feel like I learned a lot from her as a teacher just because she has even just a few more experience than me. And she really seemed to have her classroom management skills down and was able to talk to the kids. A few things I learned from the experience. Well, number one is they understand English directions a lot better than you would think, and my Khmer is pretty bad. So going into it, because they're primary school kids, we tried to learn a lot of the phrases that we might need in Khmer, but when it came to me saying them, went over their heads still. You know, it doesn't help if you know a language that you can't pronounce, right? But still, we were able to give some instructions pretty clearly in English. If you just do some actions and model some things, like, the kids are going to figure things out. Secondly, writing capital letters. This is a small thing, but a big thing, especially in the primary school. Like, they're going to rewrite everything you write on the board. So if you write things in capital letters, or if you write uppercase in some random words and not others, they're going to model that. They're going to follow it to a T. So when teaching English, it's just something to be mindful about, something I realized in this lesson, because I made that mistake. Otherwise, the lesson went really well. It was a lot of fun. We talked about modes of transportation to school, so bike, motorcycle, we said scooter, and walking and car. We taught the words, and then we did a graph counting how many students take which modes of transportation. Then we had a fun activity where they would say, I walked to school, or I rode my bike to school. We passed the ball around, and the kids would open it up, and if it was a picture of a bike, so if they see a picture of a bike, they have to say the sentence, I walked to school. And then we just had them draw pictures of their mode of transportation. It was a really chill lesson. It was a lot of fun, and yeah. One of the other really exciting things that happened this week was on our hub day, we had a talk about resiliency. So one of the current volunteers, he's taken a 3rd year. His name is Tristan. He got to lead this session on resiliency, and it was very, very grounded and just down to earth, about kind of what are you going to do to get yourself through this experience, and thinking about what is your why. You know, a lot of people come into Peace Corps with sort of like an altruistic, they want to go to the country, they want to serve, they want to help, you know, but also there's some aspect of selfishness, which is totally fine. You know, you want to travel, you want to try new things, like maybe you don't know what you're doing with your life, so you choose this, right? And I feel like a lot of us, you know, it's a combination of both, but, you know, Peace Corps wants us to be in it for the bigger picture, right? So we're here for development and helping nudge this country up in the things that they have asked for our help in, which with Cambodia specifically, it's their education system and improving English proficiency amongst the school systems. But as the leader of the talk said, you know, he's like, that is great, but that's not what's going to get you out of bed in the morning. Like, things get hard in the Peace Corps, so what is the thing that's going to keep you motivated? You know, your personal, why are you here? What are you doing, right? And he was like, it can be selfish. Like, if it is selfish, it's just like, that's where you're at, that's great, you know? It's like, what's going to be the thing that motivates you and gets you going? You know, and I'm not doing this speech any justice. My reinterpretation is definitely lacking the power that it provided for, I think, a lot of us, but I would say that was definitely my favorite session of the 4 weeks so far. Otherwise, the week has been the same ins and outs of going to language class, then going to technical training. On Friday, we had a very, very long day of 4 hours of technical training, and then another 4 hours of understanding PACA tools. So PACA is participatory analysis for community action. So before I get into that, just to frame how long the day was, most people I've talked to agree that language class a lot more engaging, a lot more fun, because it's groups of 6 distributed amongst 6 teachers, and it's easier to participate. It's easier to get through language class. You play a lot of games. It's more engaging, right? Technical training, I love the teachers to death. It's very, very boring. Like, we're just sitting in a room and we're taking notes usually the whole time, and sometimes we're doing demo teaches, but it's hard and it's long, and that was the whole day. The whole 10 hours was pretty much just that. But we made it through. So anyways, the PACA tools, participatory analysis for community action. This is what you're going to be using to gauge what your community needs when you're going and thinking about your secondary project. So the idea is that you don't come into a community and say, you guys need a library, I'm gonna make you a library, right? It's like, that's not the point. The point is to assess what the community needs. So it should be a community-driven concept that us as the Peace Corps are facilitators for, right? So you're trying to ask the students what's gonna make an improvement in your school. What does your school need? What are your interests? Like, how are we gonna increase school culture as well as English proficiency based on the needs that they see in their community. So yeah, we spent a huge session learning about these things, so they're very, very important. And this was just an introduction to these ideas. Actually, later in service, so 3 months in, we'll have something called IST. So after we've been at our site for 3 months, we'll come back together and we'll do IST, and IST is 2 weeks, and it dives deeper into these ideas about how we are going to implement a secondary project in the community. But obviously, we need a little brainstorm, and there are 4 things that you do to do this. Let me check my notes. The first one is having a daily activity schedule. So that's a schedule of the whole school year, kind of when students are going to be in school, when's the weather going to be best suited for whatever project you're trying to do, etc., etc. Just basically having a schedule of everything that's going on so you can plan your project around that. Secondly, community mapping, having a map of the community. I don't remember why you do this. I'll get back to you on that. Thirdly is the seasonal calendars, which I think I actually just messed up. So the first thing I described was seasonal calendars. Daily activity schedule, I think, is having a day-by-day idea of when and what you're gonna do with your project. So if we're building a garden, we're gonna put the soil down this day, or like dig a trench or something. It's like just having these activities would get done on these days. And then seasonal calendars is understanding the wet and dry seasons as well as the school schedule. And then finally, the needs assessment and priority ranking, which is asking your students and community what needs to be done and what's the most important thing that they see should be done. So we all split into small groups with our language groups, and everybody got assigned one of these. My group got needs assessment and priority ranking, and so we're planning on this past Friday, and I think next Thursday we're gonna actually go into a classroom and practice this with students in this community that we're in now. Obviously, we're not gonna put into any implementation things that they come up with, because this isn't our permanent site, but we're still kind of practicing the thing the thing that we're supposed to do when we get to our permanent site. So that is pretty cool. Like I said, it was a long and tiresome day, but it's all very important information that we're going to need to know when we get to our real work. Finally, to top it off, we had Saturday a Khmer cultural event, so this was a very chill day. We started in the morning, we went to the market, we went shopping for food, and basically we went over to, we were split into two groups. One group went to one volunteer's house and the other group went to one of the teachers' houses, and we cooked. So within these two groups, they each had 3 groups, and each of the 3 groups, it was like a potluck thing. So we decided our own dish we were going to prepare. We learned how to ask for things at the market and find the market and do shopping, and then we came over and we cooked. My group made jollof rice. One of our volunteers is from West Africa, and this was a dish that she made in her home country. Very, very excited to make this with her because she was just very, very intelligent about doing the things, like even gutting and cleaning a fish. That's just something you don't learn in the United States, and it's a sure shame because it was really cool to watch her do it. But yeah, we made some jollof rice, we made a small kind of salad, and then some of the other groups made tofu and stir-fried vegetables, as well as a cooked chicken. As far as I understand, it was chicken cooked in Coca-Cola. It was all great. And then with the extra money, a lot of teams decided to buy a ton of fruit. And then we danced and we did karaoke. And we got to end the day early, which was so needed after the previous day. And it was a lot of fun. It was really cool just to have like a day that felt like not school. Which brings me to today, Sunday. I spent the day mostly hanging out with my host brother. He comes down from Phnom Penh. He bought a bike so that we could go biking. But we didn't go biking today. We did bike to the school and did a little bit there, but he says he needs to practice more because he hasn't ridden a bike in 6 years. So he wants to take me to the zoo and also go riding around the rice paddies, but that is future adventures. Also, after that, I got to go play some soccer with some friends, which was awesome. And I had this moment of like, it's 4:30. I been invited to go play soccer. I've got like an hour and a half before dinner, and I've been hanging out all day, and I'm like, should I spend this time by myself, and read a book or do something, or should I go play soccer? And I chose soccer. I think it was a great move. First of all, I got really, really sweaty and got a lot of exercise that I haven't been getting because we've been in school. But the other thing to realize is PST ends so quickly. Like after 10 weeks, it's like you're not going to have these opportunities to be connecting with the people on this capacity, right? It's like you're probably going to travel, maybe meet up and like go see things when you've got the time off, or maybe 1 or 2 volunteers might come to your community over the weekend, but having everybody together all the time, it's like this isn't gonna happen again, I don't think, for the rest of the time we're here. So, you know, I had one of those moments of like, you're gonna, why not, you know, seize the day, take the moment, and go play soccer. And yeah, it's great. So, thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you next week with another update. Akun. See you next time.